Hi, this is Pedro Puzon from the Philippine Bear community, and we are here with four different people from the community, and we're going to talk about my kind of bear. First off, we're going to do a round of introductions, starting on my right.
Hi, I'm Toto. I am old. I train as a physician. My passion is medical improvisation. And yeah, I'm happy to be part of the community.
Hi, my name is Judd, or as I go by on stage, Juddy, or as I go by online, Juddigon. I am a live streamer and recently an international go-go bear. I'm just happy to be part of this experience.
Hi, I'm Jay Kim. I'm 32 years old. I am an artist, a creative writer, and a music producer. Stream my music, Jay Kim V, on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music. And I am excited to lay everything bare. Charot. In this conversation. O, diba? Lay everything bare. Finally.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm 26. I am currently in my last term of my third year, so it'll be my last year of college next year. And by profession, I am a part-time data annotator, kind of the youngest out of this group. But I am very much looking forward to opening up discussions about our experiences with the community.
Yay! Woo! Party! So first question, we're going to talk about our panelists' first experience with the bear identity. When did you first encounter the term and what did you feel about it?
I think the first time that I was introduced to the term bear outside of my teen years discovering online for the first time and being very attracted to it was when my friends actually actively started using it on me. Kasi they themselves were also bears. And funny enough, leading up to that point, I never really thought of myself as a bear. Trigger warning, I went through a lot of my own version of disordered eating in high school, and I was severely bullied then for being a particular weight level, which at the time wasn't even that extreme by what most people would consider extreme today. The bear label was not really it wasn't so much that I rejected it, but it was very much something that I was like, okay, that's probably not me, until what I now consider my chosen family actively started saying De, J Kim, kapwa bear ka namin. You're part of this family. We love you. So that was when I actively came to accept it for myself.
Mine was, I was 16. This was a moment where I was also being new to the online thing, and also kind of figuring out myself as well with who am I? Normal teen things. And then
Existentialist moment.
yes,
Existentialist,
essentially. You become existential when you're 16.
Yeah.
The moment on your 16th birthday.
Yeah.
You will become
You question life. Anyway, this is kind of very funny. I encountered the term when I was in those sites, because you're a teenager, you're exploring things.
Prawn?
Yeah, corn.
Corn.
But it never really clicked to me that I could be that, because of I'm not hairy, I'm not this. I think my thinking then was oh, you have to be this specific size to be a bear, because being online then at the time there were differentiations between, hey, you're a bear, you're a cub, you're a boar even. So I'm who am I in this? And then I came to terms with it maybe around my 20s. That was when I was oh, I'm attracted to these types of men. And I like the idea of me being attracted to a bigger man so they could protect me. But I also like the idea of being the bigger man for someone so I could protect them. And I think that was when I started to tell myself now, oh, maybe I am there's an attraction to these type of people. What are they? What are they called? And that's where I learned the term for myself truly.
But it's interesting that you first encountered it in videos.
Yeah.
Because from my time in the, I guess, early 2000s, the ones that you can get in Quiapo or the ones that that gets passed around, it's all Bellamy or it's mainstream type of brands of videos,
Yeah.
and you rarely see bears in it. So, but I guess you're coming from an era of like searching stuff online.
And the internet is wild.
Yeah.
Wow, unsupervised internet access at 16. Ooh, what will he find?
Little would you know, you'd find himself. Oh, diba?
Period.
Oh.
The first time that I encountered the bear, parang during high school and college, I kind of knew about me, but I felt na I didn't really fit in. Because like most of the gay stereotypes that I saw were, like lean or muscular. And the first time I realized it was when I went to the States. That was after med school. When you're there, you have a lot of free time, diba? So I was online and I saw a video of this big burly guy, like talagang facial hair, he's muscular, and he was singing Popular.
Okay.
And he was lip saying to Popular, but he wasn't conscious. So he was really like talagang full on, and
Going
he was just
all
in his room. He was just playing to the camera, and I was really amazed. I realized I kept replaying that video. Siguro I was attracted to him, but also I was attracted to the energy. Na how can this big burly hairy guy not be shy about himself and willing to record that video and put it out there? And for people here who know, it was on Live Journal. Okay, so
Can we educate the children on
So
what
la-
live journal is?
So back then, when social media wasn't really as big, people would have their own blogs, not even vlogs, right? And they would have their own accounts on a website called Live Journal, and they would just write their thoughts. So usually paragraphs, they would put videos and photos. So I even forget the name of this guy. So I saw him. So I was clicking on it, and I said, okay, I wanted to know more about him. So I looked at his friends because Live Journal, they have links to his friends. And when I started clicking on them, all of them were similar, like big guys, like hairy, like beard, facial hair. I was searching, and then some of them would actually post those, and all of them were together, and all of them were going out, and all of them were not, like ashamed or they were really confident. I'm like, okay, this is who I am. Like this is like my people. But of course they were American, so I thought like, okay, baka it's far from my reality. And then I was searching online Live Journal, and I found um, back then kasi it wasn't really labeled as a Pinoy bear, but more of like the chubs and chub chasers. So I saw this guy, and he also had friends in Live Journal, and I thought, okay, this is like the version of that, but not really. But that for me, that was the closest. So I started following that blog or those blogs. Like every now and then, I would like look, and then they would post like, oh, they were here, they're going to a party and stuff like that. And then that's when one of them, I think, posted on the Bigger Manila party. And I'm like, okay, so this is like a community that is interesting, and at that time felt like it resonated with me. That's how I discovered the concept of what a bear is. So,
Okay, back to me. Back to me. I think when did I? A funny story. The first time I heard bear, the term bear. The first time I heard the term bear has to do with someone whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So I was on Facebook and I saw ads of an ice cream brand back when I was in college. I think you were on there. You were on there. Oh my gosh, I had a crush on you when I was in college. Holy shit. Anyway, yeah. So that's when I first heard of the term bear, and then I heard that Sebastian's was gonna be at the first Pride Parade that I was gonna attend as like a college student. So I went, and I don't even know if Ian remembers this, but I said I went up to like his like little Sebastian stand, and I was so shy. I was like a little twink, I was a little twink, little Twinkie chub chaser. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna meet Ian for the first time, and I got like the chocolate mint popsicle brownie thing. I don't know if he still makes those, but like that was like the first time I ever interacted with an actual bear when I was in college, and that's how I also found Bigger Manila eventually and started attending bear events. I did stop attending bear events for a while because life. But then I found bear events later on in life, and now here we are. So yeah.
Admittedly, I don't even remember the first time I encountered the word because it probably flew over my head. I only started sporting this after the or during the pandemic. So back then, I was clean shaven. I've always identified as a chub. I was probably like 125, 130 kilos back then because I knew I wasn't gonna grow like a full beard. So I never identified as a bear at the very start. But it was only 2023 when I was invited for Mr. Bear Philippines that I thought, maybe I am a bear. Maybe I do fit the mold. But and we can touch on that later because the look of a bear versus a chub and the experiences. The experiences are pretty much the same. The look may be different, and that's kind of like what this campaign is all about. Um, at least spreading the word about respect and kindness and not policing people if they identify a certain way. But yeah, so now I would tell people, you know what? I identify as a tito or an uncle. That's all I identify with because I wake up in the morning with some random aching body part, and that feels more like a tito than a chub or a bear. So I'm a tito.
My first encounters then with like the Philippine bear community in general was also yung Chub and Chasers group na yon. Kasi I encountered them dun sa Facebook then. And there was a part of me that already by that time identified as like a super chub kasi malaki naman talaga ako. And then I saw the page and I was like, oh, these are like people who are like as big as me, just like enjoying life. So, sumali din ako on that group and like parang nagbantay ako for a bit na ano mga nangyayari dito and what can I like learn and how do I engage with this group. This was unfortunately the time na nagta-transition na sila into the Bigger Manila that we know today. It was at that time nakita ko yung advert ng I don't know if it was yung party na yun or diversity. But I saw like yung posters. Doon ko nakita na, oh my God, these are men who are like big. And like almost all of them are like, people in the ad are like plus size guys. So, wow. I thought to myself na this is really happening dito. And I thought that was really special kasi it gave me a sense of like, siguro welcoming or like comfort in knowing na because I already had knowledge of like the bear community outside of the Philippines, I was kind of relieved and also like expectant of good things to happen dito
To the
naman.
local community.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to support what we're doing here at Philippine Bear Community, please hit that follow button so you can see more amazing content by bears. That is for the bear community and our allies. All right, back to the video.
Actually, that brings us to the next topic, which is the community. How did you discover the community, and what's your experience? And I guess we would like to invite Toto to share his stories first, as someone who's been around the community a little bit longer than in the physical community, I guess. Because I told you earlier, I've been on Growler since the early 2010s. Thought it was magical because for the first time, I found a dating app where I don't have to worry that people wouldn't like me. Because I came from that Guys for Men Planet Romeo era where, 90% of the profiles in the early 2000s would flat out say no chubs, no femmes. So, which was very commonplace back then. And now it's like, ooh, taboo. That's why when I found Growler, it was so liberating, I guess, that, I can just be myself. And of course, since it's still a dating site, you're still subjected to being judged by people.
Right.
But it's not on the basis of how big you are, but maybe how you look or your personality or how it translates on your profile, which already takes out more than half of the struggle that I was going through back then in the early 2000s. But yeah, let's talk about the community. And Toto, I invite you to talk
This is
about
just my experience. Okay, so going back, I found like certain like big Filipinos doing blogs on LiveJournal. So I started following them. Eventually, I met some of them, and then they invited me to go to this gathering. So it's Bigger Manila back then. And Bigger Manila back then, their main point was like creating safe spaces for chubs, so bigger men, they called them chubs, and those who admire them, so chub chasers. So I was like intrigued because my newly found friends, they frequently went. So I went with them. But then I realized that the people that the men there liked did not resonate with me. It's either they really liked big men or the slim guys, right? So I was just still friends with them, but I realized that okay, I was like in the middle. Like I didn't like slim guys, but I didn't really like big guys. So and then I found another group who looked like me. They were stocky. They had facial hair, and when I was looking at the stuff that they were looking at, their corn, they were looking at the same things. Like I was like, oh, these are the guys that I kind of like. So I felt like, okay, this is where I belong. Like this is like these are my guys, like my people. Going back to what Judd said, that Ian started a new line. Ian Karandang was an ice cream shop called Sebastian's. He wanted to release a new line of ice cream bars. It's called Chubby Bars, right? So
I saw that ad too.
Right. So what he wanted to do something different. So he got 4 chubby men to represent one flavor for each bar. So we made a campaign, and then he put it online, and I think that was the first campaign where bigger men were represented.
Yeah,
Right?
We're represented anywhere. Because I think
see.
at that time, even the Avon or whatever Natasha catalogs didn't have plus size models.
Right.
So it's the first time I saw an actual plus size
Correct.
model.
Correct.
Granted, it was for an ice
Ice
cream
cream,
bar,
correct.
but
Correct.
still, it was so I didn't know anyone back then. I mean, I didn't know you back then,
Correct.
obviously, and I was like, this is amazing.
It was groundbreaking in the sense that I think nobody was doing it back then. And it really pushed us into the community because people started knowing us and started sharing yung social media campaign. So for me, my entry into the community was really a little bit accidental in that sense. Again, it's still Chubby Bars. But we were called Chubby Bar Bears, right? That's what Ian called us. So it's Chubby Bars, but the Chubby Bar Bears, right? And then later on, when there's this group in Manila who was known to be like made up of like the stereotypical bears, like the muscle guys, the facial hair, they wanted to throw the first bear party in Manila. Because even back then, uso na yung circuit parties in the region. So they wanted to throw the very first one in Manila. Their process was, I think, a little bit strict in its inviting or invitation of people. You had to meet a certain criteria. So a lot of the people who registered for that event they were not able to get the tickets, right? So what happened was Bigger Manila threw their own party. They held it 1 week before the other party date. And then they labeled it diversity because they didn't want to sell tickets. They wanted it to be a free event where everybody who wanted to go can go. So we went there, and it was really like I don't know, like 300, 400, 500 bears.
Wow.
It was in a small bar in Malate, and it spilled onto the street. And for the first time, it was really a joyous occasion because you saw whether your preference was like big guys or stocky guys or even like the thin guys or skinny guys, there was a whole gamut of like bears or bear identifying people. And it was so much fun. People were like taking off their shirts, dancing outside the street. People were just like drinking and mingling and stuff like that. And as far as I can remember, ever since that day, Bigger Manila started taking on the umbrella label of a bear group. So it's an umbrella term, and then a lot of people who identified with that culture or identity could go to their events. So I think that is how the bear community evolved. And now I'm really happy because now people really attach bear to the events and to their groups, and they identify. And then when you go to the events, it's still like there's like a variety of body types, personality types.
And
It's
for as long as you have a ticket, you're free to go in.
right.
And
And it's amazing because when I was growing up during that time, we rarely had the opportunity or the events. And now it's like you can go like a weekend, there's like something going on, and you can meet like-minded people, and there's no judgment, you can make friends. So I'm really happy for the younger generations now because there's so much available to us. And it's people like you who actually push the narrative of the bear community, the ones who organize the big parties. It's very exciting. It's very exciting.
there's that comfort also that if I go to Obar on a random Saturday and I see someone I know from the community, it just makes the whole experience nicer for some reason.
Correct.
Right? There's something about knowing people from a certain group or a certain community and bumping into them in places that probably feel a little bit scary. And so now I just go random places and I don't scan places and think, do you think I'll feel welcome here? Like,
Right.
there's something about that, about being part of the community that works in that favor, I guess.
Correct.
So
I think the one main difference kasi between the comfort that you're pertaining to versus the sort of like exclusivity that this one particular party wanted to maintain. And this is again not to villainize that group either, but like I think one of the biggest prevailing issues with the community today is this idea of having to conform to a specific standard. And what we've come to realize recently is when you are only selling this very particular idea of what a bear is supposed to look like, parang you're holding everyone else who wants to identify with that community back. So I think the comfort that you're pertaining to is more like, oh, there's an entire group of people here who have dealt with the same sort of like exclusionary, like feeling of exclusion in spaces that should be welcoming to most gays because like it's that sort of we all went through that experience versus going to a party that still really says we can't invite you because you don't look a specific way. And that's the thing that I think we really need to get rid of. But yun,
yeah.
yeah.
But also, I think we've reached that point because the community is so big, I guess bigger than it used to be, that no one party or no one event or no one friend group defines the community. I think that's kind of like something that I also want to share with people that, if you've had experiences, good or bad, with certain friend groups, certain events, that I invite everyone to kind of not let that one experience shape your viewpoint on the community.
Yeah.
Because in my view, the community exists. Well, first off, the community exists for people who actually need it. But also, the community is not about the parties. It's about this.
Yeah.
It's about having that conversation about everything that kind of involves us and going to the Pride March. Those are the things that, in my point of view, matter. The parties are nice and it's a sort of means to meet new people and dip your toe in the community. But parties, friend groups do not define the entire community.
Yeah.
Just to add, no, it's their party, so they technically have the right to invite people that they want. Like the same way that when we have parties, we invite the
Yeah.
people that we want.
If it's a private party, then it's a
Right.
private party.
Yeah.
Just don't call it a community party.
it-
if it's
Yes.
Right. It was. I think it was just really a shock during that time.
yeah.
And then so that was a reaction from Bigger Manila
Yeah.
to really open up the label and the community so that anybody who wanted to go
Yeah.
was welcome to go. And it was such an amazing time. And I think if I could really try to go look back, that was the moment where there was a consciousness na in a lot of the people that we see in our community that this is something that is ours. Like from that moment on, parang all the pride parades mas nagdadala na ng pride ng bear flags, and then people started attaching the bear to their names or to their tags. So it really opened up the thing that that the bear is like a label for our community. Yeah.
Enjoy this? Hit follow. Philippine Bear Community creates content for bears and allies, and we don't want you missing out. Now back to the video.
Have you been told by anyone, either within the community or outside the community, that you weren't bear enough? And I want to ask Jody this question first. As a go-go bear, of course, people are scrutinizing you all the time, whether they want to buy a ticket to one of your shows or they just see you online. Of course, they're going to have that thought in their head if there's a label anywhere that says that you're a go-go bear. So I want to start with you first. So what's your
Yeah.
experience there, and tell us about it?
So the funny thing with the way I debuted as a go-go bear is it was through a local bar. I'm very thankful to them for giving me the opportunity because like I've never found the perfect chance to debut as a go-go because I never thought to ask people in the community if if there were like openings for go-go bears or what. So I went to I met the owner of Spectrum Bar and he said, "Why don't I give go-go a try?" And I said, I don't really look like the typical go-go in the local bar scene, like twonks and hunks and whatnot.
Jocks, yeah.
Jocks, yeah. So I didn't really look like them. So he said, "No, you can go as a bear." And I'm like, I know this is like opposite of what you were asking, but like that was the first time I ever felt seen as a bear, and ironically, it came from someone from outside of the community. Because when I first started like training to be a go-go bear for Spectrum, I was told that I could be a go-go, but I probably could not make it as a go-go bear. I was told that. At first, I was very defiant of that. I was like, no, I can be a bear. Because like as Louis, Mr. Bear Philippines 2025, yes, 2025 said, what makes you a bear is not just the physical attributes, but what's inside. So I remained defiant and I remained confident in my journey as a go-go bear starting out to just say, if okay, sorry. Yeah, redacted. I'm a go-go bear. But then as I continued my journey, I soon found that it's not as easy to book gigs if you don't look the part. Because there's respecting your identity as a bear, but then there's also considering the organizers have to put on a particular show.
And I hate to say it, but you're the product,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and I'm the product. So how can I sell to the people buying the tickets that I'm a bear and you should buy the tickets to the show? So those are the sort of things I have to consider now that I'm on this journey as a go-go bear trying to perform at like different shows in different places. There will be times that I just have to take it and just accept it because they don't mean any harm by that. Like they actually say, "Hey, you're a great guy. You look great, but this is the kind of cast we want for this show," and that's perfectly okay. I get that. I take no offense whenever organizers are honest with me. Actually, I appreciate when they're honest with me for why they didn't cast me for a particular show because they don't owe you that. Normally, they don't say why you don't get cast. And that's one of the things I got used to. But I think for me the most difficult part is the more personal connections I have with people when they still after everything I've done and after being like part of so much and showing up for so much, they still don't see me as a part of the bear community. And that's, for me, that's what really hurts sometimes. But
Who said this?
Tawagin natin, tara.
it
Let's get
doesn't-
their address. Let's send them a very strongly worded message.
it's
Sa Twitter nila.
but yeah, so there's that actually gets to me sometimes. It's not even the professional aspect of are you bare enough, are you not bare enough. It's the personal aspect, my personal relationships with people. That's what gets to me sometimes and causes mental hangups for me. But the good thing about getting to meet other go-go bears internationally is they've dealt with this for so long. What they tell me is expend your energy wisely. Like, don't let other people consume your energy. You can put your energy into something else, into something more creative. You can even put it into yourself. Like,
Yeah.
the energy you spend thinking of what other people think of you, you could just put that into yourself and just loving yourself more. And that's what's really helped me lately. Just go with the flow. If people like me, they like me. If they don't like me, they don't like me. That's fine. And that's
Has-
where I found acceptance.
Has anyone ever come up to you after a show and tell you that you don't look bare enough, or
Yes. Yes, they have.
I don't hurry for good support system.
yeah? But also,
Yes, good
there's a
support
very
system.
good clap back for that. Well, you still bought the ticket.
Totoo.
To the
That's
show.
true. That's true.
have eyes, you still saw me then.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's more of being compared to other go-go bears on stage with you, because when you're performing alone, because I've done solo shows, duo shows, and like group performances, I think the most difficult part is owning the stage when you're in a group of much bigger guys. That's the most difficult part, and that's why I'm super grateful that I got to do Bangkok Twilight, because that was such a huge challenge for me as a smaller bear.
How many were there? There were like 20 or more.
There were a lot of go-go bears there.
All over.
My goodness,
Yeah.
from all over different parts of Asia. And yeah, I was like so worried at first that I would get lost in the stage. But thankfully, like the organizers were so good at like blocking and just staging and everything, so everyone got the chance to be seen during the show, and it was really well put together. And I was so grateful for that opportunity. Yeah, it was a challenge for me mentally, but then once I was there, it was like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, you were in the zone. I was,
I was
there.
like-
I saw you. You were
I
in
was
the
like,
zone. So
Also, people know you. You got dipped in Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
How many can say that? How many can actually say
People know you
that?
enough that you are a Pokemon enjoyer to be.
Yeah.
Pokemon.
I'm so grateful. At my last show in Hong Kong, where I did a shower show, that was for like a bear night thing in Hong Kong too. So like, I'm very grateful that people in other parts of the world see me as a bear. So I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, and they knew enough that I love Pokemon. So
work. All right.
What was the question again?
Have you ever been told that you weren't bare enough?
Oh yes. Hell yes. I mean, clear naman yata sa suot ko. It kind of makes sense. I'm dressed like a schoolgirl. Chikoku, I'm late. The thing with the label bear for me actually is apart from the first time it being used on me was amongst my chosen family, si Mr. Bear 2025, si Louis, shout out Dad. It was amongst other members of the queer community who were not themselves bears, who would, whether they meant it in good spirit or with ill intention, would say nga na parang, Jake, yung bear ka eh, kasi hindi ka ganun kaborda, you're not that fit, but you're also not that fat, and then you're also not really fashionable enough. And it's like, so, and like parang yung sa akin, like I take a lot of pride na rin at how far in the in-betweens that I sit in. So like I mean, I know a lot better now than to kind of let that affect me. But
Yeah.
it is still that sort of thing now where like the fact that you tell me I'm not all of these things, therefore I'm this thing, tells you how much the label is still steeped in this level of stigma and discrimination amongst the broader queer community. I think one of the most heartbreaking things for me was when I started getting more involved with the bear community, which was siguro after the pandemic and a good 3 or 4 years after I'd already established my circle of friends. Is like, I know these people, I trust them, they're my chosen family, and I love them to death. I would go to war for them. Not really, please not. But when I started like mingling with like other members of the bear community na, I was under the impression na parang, oh, hindi naman contested yung bear identity ko amongst my chosen family. Why would I think that was going to be otherwise? Come to find out, biglang, oh, you're not a bear because you're not fuckable enough, or you're not financially stable enough, or wala kang may contribute sa conversations about like traveling to other countries, or parang all of these sorts of like super superficial reasons where it's like, I why does anyone want to deal with this? Why does this factor into, and like, I kind of came to a point for a while actually where I was like, I obviously don't believe this now, pero parang this is why people don't want to get with the bear community, because there's this level of like Regina George complex from within, and it's like I think that's the thing that really needs to stop.
The question there, does the bear community have a monopoly over that? Isn't any group with gay men gonna have like people with Regina George complex?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, that's definitely
Also
the case
non-gay.
naman. Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Non-gay people would have that Regina George complex as well.
I think like, and this is less directed at like the broader queer community in general, and more at like within the bear, like addressing yung mga kapwa bears natin. It's like, please don't do this to us. Like, we know what you've been through, because we're the same.
Yeah.
For you to delude yourselves into thinking that you're somehow different and superior to us is delusional.
Yeah.
Like, it's that particular mindset, I think, that needs to be killed.
Yeah, and I think the roots of the bear community is about welcoming a group of people that were othered. So for you to do the same thing
Exactly. Oh.
against the people that are part of the community is kind of make it make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
For me, absolutely. Because rightly enough, for the definition of a lot of people, I'm not a bear. I'm a chub. I'm big and like bigger enough than most chubs out there, so I'm a super chub. That's what people have always told me. But it was something in myself that resounded talaga with like, oh, I'm a bear because I'm a big guy. That's like my default definition of it. From like strangers telling me that I'm not bear enough because I'm a chub, that didn't really matter to me, because I still had like the self-confidence enough to tell myself na, oh, that's fine, I'm still a bear. But I've had close friends, I've had people that I've spent like months with like their lives and mine tell me that, oh, you're not this, you're not a bear, you're a chub by default. And again, that's like basing it off of like the label instead of like the identity itself. Because for a while I identified as a bear because that is my identity. I'm a big guy. And it took me a while to internalize it to myself na this wasn't them telling me that I'm a chub is not discriminatory. But for a while it felt like it. You know, nawala yung self-confidence ko for a bit. And it went on to like my first party, like when the bears in Rampa, something like that. Because again, like this was my first party of like bears, and everyone I saw there was like not shaped like me. So there was this stigma that yes, I do identify myself as a bear. However, I'm still scared of like the same like silhouetted people judging me, because I'm like, hey, you may be a bear, you identify as a bear, but you don't look like us. You're too big. You're water, you're too big. I'm so sorry.
That's a very Filipino joke, by the way.
But yeah, every single time I went to events, there's this small fear in myself that there will always be new people. There will always be someone who is a stranger to me, and I'm a stranger to them. And there is a chance that they will tell me, hey, why are you here? You're not a bear. You don't look like this. You are a chub. There's this definition in the back of my head na, for one, why are you separating those when we're already in an era of like welcoming everyone? Why is there still like separation between bear and chub, right? And the second thing is, there's still a part of me that believes that a little bit, because even if I'm like part of this community now, in general, there's still this feeling of me na people are not that attracted to me. There's this sense of isolation within the community for myself that it's questioning my self confidence of like, yes, people know me, but do people like me? And it's a struggle with like self image, self confidence, and stuff. I am very grateful for the people, the friends that I've made. David, Mr. Bear 2024. In my second visit to Rampa, he was the one who was like, hey, come join my table. And this was like the first time I felt I was really welcome, not because of what I look like or what I identified as. I was welcomed because I was me. There was also Nico and Louie, who I looked up to for so long because they were like in my head the perfect picture of like the physicality of a bear and also the mentality of a bear. It's Miko and Louie, respectively. I was so happy for myself because they considered me as like a friend. And it clicked to me in that moment that this is like home now. Na I don't feel as lacking anymore in like confidence because I know I have people within this community that treat me for me. And I can identify myself as a bear now more because I know in my heart of hearts that I have people who support me and love me for who I am instead of like who I label myself as.
That's the challenge with the labels also. Like the dating apps kind of have to force you into labeling yourself.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be to make everyone's lives easier, to filter the views, the grid, so that if you have a certain type, then you filter by that type and you see the people who match to that type. But that also spills over to real life and communities, and that's when all of these like policing and takes place. Have you ever been told that you're not? Maybe when you went to the States, have
When
you
I
ever
was
been
in the
told?
States, yeah, when I was in the States, I just felt that I wasn't seen. I think it was because of preference. They prefer white people. So like when I went to the bar, parang you're just in the corner. Tapos usually kausap mo lang yung bartender.
Yeah.
Like, or I actually had a good time, but it was with fellow Filipino bears, right? And I didn't really take it against them because I think it was preference, right? Ibang usapan na if like kunyari they would make it known to me, or like kunyari they really ostracized me. But if it was because, no offense, they preferred white people, I'm fine with it because we all have our own preferences, right? Here I never really paid attention to like people telling me I'm not bare enough. It's probably because I think I accidentally fell into that position where the community got to know me, and I got to know the community because of that campaign. So automatic, all four of us, Phil, Benz, Stephen, and I, parang when we would go around, parang yung chubby bar bears na. So parang it was easier for us to mix, but also it was a burden kasi parang all of a sudden parang meron ng label, so we had to represent and we had to carry that parang title, loosely and lightly. Hindi siya yung parang something precious kasi there's a responsibility to represent, but also at the same time parang welcome everybody. It wasn't something that we aspired to. It was just really, it happened lang because of that campaign. So the label of bear, it really came from a magazine in the States. I can't remember the title, but it was called parang The Menagerie, where that article described gay guys in terms of animals. So dun galing yung bear, right? So it was a label. And for me, there's nothing wrong with label because it like kunyari, when you say bear, stereotypically you know what they prefer to. Like for example, twink and stuff like that. But it has moved more. If you go beyond that, then you go to identity. Then that's where it becomes more all encompassing.
Yeah.
And personally sa akin, parang I wasn't really too attached to the label. It's probably because of the chubby bar bears. Like when we go out, alam na nila na, okay, we were parang officially labeled as bears. I just want people to remember the reason why nagkaroon ng communities because we were shunned by a lot.
Yes.
And it's saddening that within the community, people are shunning some other or like parang in-exclude ng ibang tao ang people within the same community,
Yeah.
right? And if you are that type of person, I wonder what is your goal? What is your goal of telling somebody that you don't look like a bear? I mean, for me, whatever floats their boat, let them be. Don't yuck their yum, right? Because it's like it's identity, and identity is something that is personal. You cannot say that you don't have to identify. If the person identifies, then good for him or her. Then we support, right? We have to go back to the reason why we're together because we were excluded first. So it's saddening to exclude people within the community.
Yeah.
I understand that in every community outside of the bear community and other communities, there is an ideal standard, right? For example, in the bear community, probably a little bit muscular, facial hair, body hair. But a lot of us, we don't reach that ideal, right? And for me, it's problematic if you take that ideal and you set it as a standard for everybody,
Or
and then
you
you
impose it
exclude
on other
correct, and then
people.
you exclude people based on them not reaching that standard which you set.
And then
Right.
there's a layer of the desirability politics and
Correct.
all of that,
Correct,
where people treat you on the basis of whether they want to sleep with you or not,
correct.
right? Which is messed up, but it's out
Yes.
there. It's happening.
It's for that aspect. It's preference na. So, like for example, if you prefer muscle guys, hairy guys, that's fine, right? But if you set that ideal na dapat everybody who can come in, dapat ganito lang kayo, then that's where it becomes a little bit problematic, right? And it's not true to the principle of what the bear committees. Actually, in fact, even the people who think that they're bears, when they go to, let's say, the States, they're not seen as bears.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Asians are not seen as bears. Like, they're either labeled as pandas. We're not hairy enough. We don't have body hair. We're not big and burly enough, right? So, and surprisingly, when you're here, even within the Asian community, some people are considered not bear enough, right? So, in the way I see it lang, just let live. Like if people just want to be what they want to be or who they want to be, just
if they want to identify as a
Correct.
unicorn, let them identify as a
Correct,
unicorn. And
correct.
you don't have to comment on their
Correct.
post about it.
Correct.
I guess that's the thing about the generation now that I noticed, or at least the online community, is that there is that very strong need to comment on it. I mean, obviously the comment section is turned on. It's not like turned off. But the thing is, I come from an era where if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yes.
Right.
People forget that nowadays. Actually.
and most of them won't say it to your face. They just say it because it's online.
Yeah.
But if you're given the chance, okay, you can say it to my face. A lot of them won't even say anything, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, like we have to go back to the basics. Like,
Yeah.
be human, be kind. Be kind.
But here's the thing. So my story about being told that I wasn't bear enough didn't even say I wasn't bear enough. He said, "You're no longer a bear." So this is someone I bumped into last year, and
Graduate ka na kumbaga.
yeah, this was after I joined Mr. Bear Philippines
Okay,
in 2024. So this one is 2025. I was hosting
Yeah.
the pageant, and funnily enough, the question was about being told that you're not bear enough.
Yeah.
But backstage, someone came up to me and said, I said hi to them, and they're like, "Oh, you lost so much weight already, or you lost so much weight again. You're no longer a bear." I'm like,
Damn.
but then I think the intent wasn't really malicious that much because they were saying you can't join Mr. Bear anymore. Maybe you can join Mr. Gay Philippines or something, Mr. Gay World. I was like, okay. I mean, but I totally understood the context because it was a pageant, and but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this is something. That's why I personally don't use the my identity as a personality trait. I don't tell people I'm a bear. Yo, I'm a bear. So
Yeah.
so one to kind of just not have that debate for those that want to debate about it. And the other thing is there's so many things about everyone. We're nuanced individuals and beings, and so the bareness is there. And if people see it and they acknowledge it, then fine. If they don't, it's also fine, right? But I think it becomes a little bit damaging for people who are still kind of finding themselves,
Yeah.
and and I most likely the younger ones go through that for them to maybe we're already in that era where no chubs, no FMs in dating apps already like X. So but then they go through something like this,
Yeah.
so which can still mess them up in their head. So and that's why we're campaigning for this to kind of just respect everyone and be kind to everyone. And if they say they're a bear or they identify as a bear, even if in from your eyes they don't look like it, you don't have to say anything and just say work.
I think opportunities like this, it's a good chance for people who are listening to challenge yourself to grow your definition,
Yeah.
to broaden your mind
Expanding
and
the definition.
expand your horizon.
Some research.
Yeah.
So like for example, ano ba talaga? What do you think is a bear? What a typical bear is? And look at the people who identify.
Yeah.
So para at least for everyone's benefit, when we educate ourselves, we become more compassionate, understanding, and kind.
Yeah.
Kind.
But there's the thing about identity, I think. I'm no sociologist or anything, but when you talk about identity, oftentimes there's no one definition. Like, for example, whether you identify as Filipino or not, there's no one definition of what a Filipino is. So why do we need to do the same for the bear identity? I guess that's it. And why do we need? That's why there's actually no need to redefine it. I feel that there's a need to not really completely eradicate it, but accept that the definition of a bear is fluid,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
That's just like any queer, any queer identity.
Yeah, exactly.
Like whether you're ace, you're demi, you're
Exactly.
right.
So
Non-binary.
exactly. So we're already in that era, and we would like to invite everyone to join us in this sort of mindset, just to create a more welcoming and a safer space for a lot of people who are still finding their place in the world, and finding their own identities. And that's really the whole point of this campaign.
We promise you, we're never gonna run out of room. And if you make room for those of us who don't quite fit the stereotypical definition of the bear, we will always build room. Yun lang. Ay, sige go.
So yun, like as a young guy who considered this community right now as home, I hope that people who are also struggling with their identity find themselves a place where they can also call it home.
I know the concept of a bear is an issue where there's a lot of potential conflict. A lot of people feel conflicted or hesitant. Some people embrace it fully. Other people are gatekeeping, right? But for me, I just want people sana to remember the reason why we embraced that label was because of the times when we felt that we didn't belong. So I wish that we could all just treat everyone with kindness, and because there's so much room for everyone, right? And if they live their truth and their reality, it doesn't take away from yours.
And I just want to say, I really appreciate getting to do this with everyone, and especially like hearing and like relearning so much of like Philippine bear history through all of your stories, Toto. Like I really appreciate that because I entered the.
Sound like he's
Yeah.
80 years old.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No,
Back in the 1950s.
back in my day. Very much.
And also, that's just.
And Judge, I'm not a historian. That's just my small perspective. You should ask sila Mike, yeah, and sila Ian, because yeah, that guy knows more than I do. So
Yeah, because like I entered yun nga, like I saw the first like Sebastian's ad when I was in college, and then like at some point I was hanging out more with the party gays, and then at a later point I re-entered the bear community through like the pool parties and like the bear nights, and I missed out on so much. So like getting to like hear so much of Philippine bear history through you has just been so nice because like I missed out on so much, and I guess everyone's touched on like there being enough room for everyone despite how they identify as a bear, and I guess what I can relate that to is another experience I had with like debuting as a go-go was I was accused of taking space from other more bear like people who could be go-go's, like they said. So basically you're taking other bears opportunities from them when you're not even really a bear. So like, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Like I work just as hard as everyone else to earn the spot that I have. And I make it a point that I always have a catalog of all of the Philippine Go-Go Bears on my phone. So when the organizers of international events ask me for recommendations, I always have a catalog. So I support the community as well. Can I drop the mic?
can I be part of that list? Just kidding.
I cannot do what you guys do.
Am I gonna say there's room for
Identify as a go-go bear.
Exactly. There's room for everybody.
There's room for everybody on the stage.
No, but I think with the diversity of like the physical attributes within the community, also comes the diversity of viewpoints on this topic.
Correct.
Right? And we're not saying don't think this way or don't think that way, but maybe don't be an asshole.
Yeah. You.
Yeah. But if you also think that making yourself heard by telling people that they don't look bare enough is your thing, then it's your thing. But it's also going to be met with pushback from other people as well. So that's the beauty of the community. It's so diverse, but we need to continue having these conversations.
Yes.
That's the important thing, and I'm very happy and very thankful for you guys for joining this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pedro. I just want to say that we really appreciate what you do, the short videos, because I think they really push the bear community narrative.
Yes.
And
The
these
bears
are
in the wild.
the bears in the wild, and everything
Shameless
that you do, and everything that you put on social media. Because we rarely get the chance to really talk about the things that matter and affect us.
Yeah.
Diba? It's all like kunyari parties and events, but when you really sit down and talk about things that are really important, that's when the people who watch this can get the chance to know different views and get to know different people and maybe expand their views on.
Because at the end of the day, for some people, for as long as they see someone online or in a video that kind of looks like them or adjacent to how they look like and has a similar point of view, then that for them already feels like home. And that already makes them feel like they're part of the community. And that's why we're doing all of this. But again, thank you guys. We're done. Yay! We're not sponsored by Dunkin', but thank you for the donuts. Big N of it. Next video, sponsored na. May coffee na for everyone. But thank you guys. Bye.